Roll call. Aaron Cox.
Present.
Rob Jackson.
Here.
Alan Winkler.
Here.
Dan Allen. Lana Pratt.
Here.
Dee Centerguard.
Here.
Randy Henderson.
Here.
And that's it. All right, first item up is the consent agenda. Approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes, approval of the bills. There are no building permits. So do I have a motion to,
We added the bills.
I've done the bills on a list like this. So the top right part is stuff that's been paid before the meeting, and this is the stuff that I will be paying tomorrow, pending your guys' approval. So if you guys can each sign the bottom, and I'm just gonna keep it in with the minutes, each agenda packet, once you've looked them over.
And then I put in, we forgot to send the minutes for the last 3 meetings. So I got those laying there. And I got a balance sheet, we forgot to send you in the packet also.
so do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Make a motion to accept the consent
I have
agenda.
a motion, do I have a second?
So moved.
All right, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? Consent agenda of the agenda, the minutes and the bills. Treasurer's report, Dee.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to this. This is January that I laid out there for you, and that's what the balance sheet was for the end of January. We don't have February quite finished up yet. So in January, I looked over the bank reconciliation, everything appeared to be correct. CD report, checked it over, and it was not really much to check over because there was no funds that earned interest that month. Went over the daily transactions and the accounts payable that Brandy had done for the month, and everything appeared to be correct, and the 2 payrolls. And I did review the general ledger entries for the month.
Yep. Anything else, Dee?
Nope.
Any questions for Dee? Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
A motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion needed? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report is approved. City clerk's comments.
I've talked about the bill list, that was what I wanna bring up, and then, gonna come up with some kind of a resolution or something to increase fees, penalties, doorpost fees, which some aren't even being charged, we're never charged, so I'll come up with something like that for you guys to look over. Hopefully next meeting, maybe.
Okay.
And you talked about the fact on the penalties, some people had penalties and some hadn't. Yeah.
1 point, yes.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the standard process here. Any questions for Brandy? All right. Council's comments. Aaron, got anything?
Nothing at this time.
Lana?
Nothing at this time.
Val?
Why wasn't our 28E agreement with the city of Mobile on file from last year down at the state?
They're taking care of that. Mobile's taking care of that. That was their responsibility.
So Mobile did the one that got filed March 4th then?
They're the ones that are responsible for filing that. That's my understanding.
So what does our attorney say since we didn't have it on record down at the state?
He's talked to their attorney, and their attorney said it will be on file.
Okay, what about all these 20 cases that we took? Are we at
He's what?
these 20 cases, these nuisance abatements that have gone to court? According to the state, you gotta have them on file 14 days before you can do anything, any legal action. Are we at any risk from last year for not having that filed?
I don't believe we're at any risk whatsoever.
What's our attorney saying?
Well, I haven't asked him that particular
that.
question. Let me ask you though, when did this become a concern to you?
When I found out about it,
When did you find out about it?
about a week ago.
Okay, why in that week haven't you called City Hall, ask to call me, talk to me and say, hey, see a problem here, instead of bringing it up here. Why wait till the last minute on this stuff?
Well, that's my question to you. We're 10 months behind.
If I don't know that there's an
That's not last,
issue,
Jim, that's not last minute, 10 months. That's really late.
you should have brought this up a week ago, we could have got you an answer for tonight, so now, it goes out to the world, thanks to your
So we're hiding,
short-sightedness.
so we're hiding.
We're not
stuff.
hiding anything, Al.
So what's the
Give
problem?
me a chance to find out answers to questions ahead of time, instead of blindsiding me in a meeting.
I'm not blindsiding you.
You know what you're doing is you're
know
asking
about
a
it.
question here, it's getting out there, and people get misinformed.
That's why I just asked you the question, what's our attorney think about it?
Well then, I will find out and I will get back to you.
But don't you think that's an issue?
If I don't have the answer in front of me, I can't answer the question.
Okay.
If you don't pose
Well,
the
I mean,
question to me,
you
I
obviously-
can't get the
You
answer.
obviously knew about it before tonight, so that's why I figured you
No.
had the answer.
I knew about it because the attorney sent us some information and said, in this whole game that's being played with this public information request.
I'm just curious, I mean, I talked to League of Cities today, and as far as they know, legally, I could contact our attorney and ask.
Nobody said you can't,
Okay, I'm just checking.
but
But I thought we all signed an agreement that the only people that would talk to the our city
No,
attorney would be
the
you.
only people that talk
and
to the
city
media.
clerk. I don't ever recall signing that. You'd have to show me my signature on that one. Cause that isn't legal either.
Well, I think you're misinformed.
Well, it came from the city, League of
Okay.
Cities, I just talked about.
Let's move on. What else do you have to say?
That's it.
Rob, you got anything?
I do not.
Dan, you got anything?
No.
Okay. Nothing, Aaron?
No.
All right. My comments. We've had 2 record requests come in the last week or so. We are trying to address those. One of them has volumes and volumes of information they desire. A lot of it is likely not relevant to the subject, but we've addressed this with our attorney. He's helping us out, steering us in the right direction. For one of them, we do have the information pulled together. We're just waiting on, the person has requested it electronically and not via email, so we're sending it out on a thumb drive, and we're waiting on thumb drives to get here from our supplier. We are also looking at, coming down the road, make sure I didn't cover it here. There's an item we won't be addressing tonight on our agenda. We will be defining the procedures and the fees associated with handling of public records. There seems to be a lot of confusion in that area, so we need to nail it down. Part of that requirement is we have to put a public hearing posting out. And it has to be published in the paper ahead of time. So, it did not make this week's paper, so it will be coming out in the future. And we'll probably hold a special meeting to adopt that resolution. Cover insurance review, coverage renewal. Iowa 15 widening. We have talked with the state guys last week. They indicate that the contractor is targeting getting his asphalt plant started to set up around the 1st of April. Not sure where they're gonna locate it at. We don't have any details on that, but that's coming down the road. They do plan to continue with the sidewalks from Broad Street west to the railroad tracks, the widening of the highway. relaying of the asphalt, including the parking area out here, from Broad Street down to Elm Street on both sides. And, we've also got them coming to look at a couple of problem areas in the sidewalks they laid last year. There's some cracking and heaving, and so we want to see what the engineer has to say about that. Randy covered the rates for overdues and shut-offs. Let's see here, what else? I think that'll be it for right now. Gary's not here. Okay, so no utility reports, no complaint forms, citizens' comments.
Check. Yes.
Matt Welder.
Just want to mention, on the 2080 agreement, that is actually a violation of state code and state law, and the Attorney General's office actually has told me I should talk to the Sheriff's Department and the County Attorney's Department, because by not filing that and using it as an enforcement act, that is I don't remember, it's a false, it's a harassment of falsifying law enforcement.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I'll be contacting sheriff and county attorney on that real soon, so.
We'll check with our attorney on that.
And if you want people to follow the law, you gotta follow the law first.
Say again, please.
If you want the people to follow the law, you guys gotta follow the law first. And that's state code trumps city code, just so.
Well, I think it goes in combination, not.
No, it does not.
Not who's first.
Nope. Well, who's first? The Secretary of State has to require it. They've been requiring that for years. Last time the city of Rolfe filed one was in 2021 for the county law enforcement.
Yeah.
And as soon as a request comes up, you realize that, we're not filed. You file it last minute. So, yes, beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
All right. New business, sheriff's report.
No issues on our side.
Any questions for the sheriff? All right, thanks, Steve. Insurance review. We had an insurance review that was unsolicited, offered up to us by an agent from another town. And we voted to have the same thing done over here at the bank. The local insurance agent, after I got done speaking with them, it doesn't sound like that we have a real big problem with our insurance. There are some holes in it, minor stuff. We do have coverage for liability on the playground equipment. We just don't have replacement costs for that. Some of our replacement costs are way, way higher than the building is worth. And so we have to look at reviewing all of our insurances and see if we can drop those numbers down to something decent, maybe save us some money. And the insurance agent also mentioned too that coming down the road, insurances are changing big time. One of the things that the insurance companies will not do anymore is if you have a catastrophic loss, like on a building, they will not pay for the removal of the rubble. That will be on you. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to chase these skyrocketing costs for replacement. So they encourage the town to get a newer assessment on the evaluations of the buildings and then go from there to work on determining what we wanna replace, how much we wanna apply for the replacement costs, and so on and so forth. I think that it might be in the best interest of the city to form a subcommittee to meet periodically with the insurance agent and go over everything and make sure that we have the proper coverages. We've still gotta talk to some of the other departments in town. Make sure that we're not paying for some things. An example today that was found is that we're paying quite a bit on workman's comp, but it's based on higher numbers of people that really aren't here anymore. So things like that we've got to look over and go across all this. So I just want to get your feelings on a subcommittee, forming a subcommittee to work with the bank, or excuse me, the insurance agent / bank, on doing some immediate reviews, so that we can get to the right level of insurance coverage. So does anybody have a thought on that? Or would they like to participate in that?
I have some knowledge, having been an insurance agent, so I'll help if I am needed.
I talked to League of Cities to form a subcommittee, and basically it's just, and we don't have to do this tonight. Basically, we can form a subcommittee anytime we want, just by a motion of the council. If we decide to go with something more permanent later on, then we will have to do a resolution and form that advisory committee or subcommittee, not subcommittee, advisory committee or commission or whatever we want to call it. So the only other thing that we needed to discuss on that was we heard from both parties. And so I told our agent here that we would vote on which way we wanted to go. If we want to stay here locally or we want to take our insurance out of town. They fully understand that, so. I think that our insurance agent here in town was very, very straightforward with us, very detailed, and very willing to work with us, just like the other one was, so. Thoughts?
We stay local.
Well, I need a motion
I'll make a
take
motion
action
to
one way or
stay.
the other.
I'll make
a motion to stay.
stay.
I have a motion to stay with the current agent. Second.
Dan. Dan,
Okay.
second.
All right. Is there any discussion needed on this? All in favor? Okay, we'll notify Sherry then. All right, we need to set a date for the public hearing on the proposed property tax levy.
That was in the packets that I sent to you guys. This is what was due the 5th. Got uploaded to the state, and the public hearing will be at 5 o'clock before the meeting, our next meeting on April 14th. So we'll have this at 5, have a normal meeting at 5:30.
We can reasonably go until the 14th of the next regular meeting.
Yes,
And that'll be the whole budget at that point, right?
just this.
Just that?
Yes, just this thing right here.
But we should be
Yeah.
able to.
We'll have better, yes. It'll be more than just this to show you guys, but this is what we have to have the public hearing on right here, is this.
So do I have a motion to set the date and time?
So moved.
All right, so we're setting it for the April 14th at 5 o'clock. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excuse me. Next item up, I think I spoke briefly at one of the previous meetings about the German property. Told you that we had the chance to obtain that on as an abandoned property. I also said that take the house down would be about 10 grand. And I know that would put a dent in our wallet. We probably can't afford it. I just wanted to double check with the council to see what they think.
Yeah, it's just too bad that, the people can't take care of their own stuff.
Very true.
Everything is always let somebody else pay the bill.
So all I need to know is you wanna pass on this opportunity or table it, whatever.
It's not doing us any good to stand there except draw rodents and,
You know, again, you know, 10
Everything else.
grand, 10 grand is 10 grand.
Think it would sell for 10?
Hmm?
Make an empty lot? Think it would sell for 10?
You know, the last one sold for 500, right across from the church.
We advertised a couple lots a couple years ago for $1,000 a piece and had no bids on it. We got 500 out of the one down here where we tore down the house. And I think we got, I can't remember how much we got for the one down there across from the multi-faith church.
That was a $500 one. That was last year, Charles bought it for the church.
So,
You don't
All right.
agree?
No.
so if nobody has anything to say, we'll pass on that.
Yeah, I think we should just hold off for it because of
Okay.
other places.
All right. Next up is the ash tree removal, as everybody's probably seen. We got 2 orange colored rings around all the trees that are diseased and need to come out. There's 160 right now. I don't anticipate that number climbing. So, got them marked, I've got them identified by property and location. I still need to create a map. And then our attorney is going to help us work through the contract process. So if you're not aware of how it works, in this particular case, we have to have a competitive bid contract offering. So we will go out with basically a request for proposals or quotes. And then we will tell them what we want. Originally, I had considered that we would take the trees down and remove them completely and take out the stumps. I checked with DNR. They said it is possible to have someone bid and take the trees and take them off site and dispose of them, as long as it's done in a proper manner. They weren't absolutely specific on how that happened, but it kind of sounded like to me that they would entertain that thought. So we still have to write the contract. One problem that I see is not with taking the trees down or getting rid of them, it's with the amount of money we have. I did receive an unsolicited bid, or actually an offering from a trio of tree removal guys down in Fort Dodge, and if their proposal was to be taken, we would be short on funding to do all that. So what I'm thinking, and this is just me thinking, is that when we go out for proposals, we'd ask for 2 proposals. One, to take the tree down and remove the material altogether from the city, and we leave the stumps, at least temporarily. Have them cut them down to about 3 or 4 inches above the ground. And we can treat the stumps with an approved herbicide. And then the other is to have them include the cost of taking the stumps out, grinding them out. We would take care of the backfilling of the dirt and the reseeding of the property. So I just want to see does anybody have a problem with going ahead with those 2 types of proposals, or 2 types of planned action?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I think we need to find out
Okay.
what all of our options are, so yeah, that's.
And there's still a lot of legwork to do here, but at least that'll get us going in the right direction. We need to know what the ultimate plan is. This obviously won't take care of all the tree problems in town, but it'll take care of the ash tree problem. for the most part. There may be a few that don't show symptoms yet, that'll have to come down later, but we can address those in the future. So, with that, do I have a proposal, or do I have a motion to go ahead with two proposals, one to take the tree out completely, one to include the stumps?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead with that plan. Next one, I'm stuck on.
Oh, yes. Tony and I had our, let's see, the anti-drug and alcohol program, the state came in and audited us, checked us. We have like a policy in our folder in there. They had us make a few changes, pretty much it was just adding, making sure we have the right certificates in the folder. So I just have a resolution typed up that they suggested showing that I made those updates. It's just mainly for us to have in the folder, saying that I did do the updating that needed to be done.
So we need a motion for that resolution.
Yes.
I so move for the City of Rolfe anti-drug and alcohol program.
Second.
Oh, sorry, you had guys. Get those, here's one that he's been doing. And then it was nice to get that one, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay, so Lana and Rob.
Okay. All right, so, and because it's a resolution, we'll have to do a roll call vote.
Yes.
So, Al,
Yep.
Yes.
Rob, Dan,
Aye.
Lana,
Yes.
Aaron,
Aye.
okay. Resolution is approved. All right, the code enforcer reimbursement.
He's doing a lot of work for our stuff that we have to give out to people. And he's having to, do that, and so he has some bills that will be entailed.
Okay.
So we need a motion to pay his bills, and then pass that on to the people that are getting that information.
Okay. So,
This is the public records regarding that. His fee, his hourly rate too, when we have to go digging all this information up.
I received a thumb drive in the mail today, and so I gotta go through it and pull all that data. And, make sure that it corresponds to the right stuff, so, we need to reimburse him for his time and efforts. So,
And materials, flash drives,
Hmm?
and
And a
materials,
thumb drive.
Yep.
postage.
Would I have a motion to reimburse?
How much is it?
He hasn't submitted a bill yet, I don't think, Kathy.
No, we don't have any total to approve, we just have to approve to pay him back, just.
There's a fee schedule, so I imagine
Just like I'll have a fee too for doing all my work. 2 hours spent already this week digging up information, so.
Go ahead.
So I go diversity.
Okay. So, motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
The people that are getting this info, do we get to charge them?
Yes.
We'll pass the costs on to them.
Mhm.
Is there a state guideline schedule, or do we get to set our own?
We get to set our own, but we have to be within the parameters of the state laws.
So let's take it to the very top.
We can, what we're allowed to do is, if it takes over 30 minutes, we're allowed to charge by the hour. at the standard rate that the clerk gets paid. Any materials that we use, if they want hard copies, it will be per page. And of course, we have to set these things. So just about any cost, but it has to be reasonable, such as copying costs have to be reasonable. You can't charge $5 a copy because you can only charge to the point where you're not making money on it, but it covers your costs.
But anything that like saved as Word, you have to resave it as you want it to resave it as a PDF file. So that all takes time to do those types of things.
If it has to be scanned from paper, that takes time. And you gotta understand too that we have other business going on at the same time. So, the reasonable amount of time to respond is anywhere between 10 days and 20 days. Anyway, so that next item on the agenda, we won't be discussing that tonight other than just this general information that was passed out. With that, one more item, nuisance abatement. Nuisance abatement, sent out 7-day letters. We have abatement actions that'll be coming up. We have quite a few actually coming up. And we had 2 appeals that were filed with the court, and motion was denied for those. Or actually, there's another term, I can't think of what it's called. The people that filed the appeals failed to follow through with their responsibilities, so those appeals were dismissed.
After I found out about 2080, I just didn't worry about it, because the whole thing's gotta be thrown out, so.
So, we speak in a term here, do we, or what?
Kinda. All right, is there anything else? Nothing comes to mind?
Does anybody, because I was out of town,
What's
I
that?
know they did another bingo night or something for the pool. How was that received? Was it successful?
Bingo for the other night, that was done on the 1st of March.
Yeah.
Went over pretty well. I guess they had somewhere around, I'm told around 50-some people here. They raised, according to Sarah, over $500. It went over well. They're talking about the possibility of another one. They're talking about the possibility of doing it more frequently next winter, when people are going through their winter drolls.
Looking for something to do.
So I think all in all, it worked out well. We'll wait and see how it plays out with the pool though, because the skimmers have to be replaced, and Kevin Kearns has taken and cut the concrete for that. Now we're just waiting on the weather to cooperate so we can pull those out and replace them. I don't know if the actual skimmer box materials have been received yet. We're hoping to save a lot of money by doing it ourselves, see if we can extend the pool one more year. The reality is that at some point, a year or 2 from now, the pool is breaking down quickly, and we probably are gonna have to make a decision, or somebody's gonna have to make a decision to shut it down and tear it out. And that's just the reality of it. It's just wearing out. If anybody's been down to the pool house and taken a look, the floor is heaving. It's just the pump house is falling apart, and there's only a handful of people that will go down and try to give a hand to, keep it going, so. That's just the reality, and with the budgets are gonna tighten up significantly coming down the road. More and more volunteer work is gonna be required, or we're gonna have to start making decisions on what to close.
There was mention about looking at possibility of maybe some of the city buildings, I don't know, there's a building over here that, how much we really needed it. Any further thoughts on that, or possibility, is that realistic or not?
We will look at that, as far as, I asked Tony, I said, do you think we can take all the equipment from that building, or that Quonset hut over there, and store it over here in our other building that we utilize just as much, although it only has a gravel floor? He said, yeah, so it's a possibility we could put that building up for sale, save ourselves a little bit of money. But at the same time, I would caution on selling it for nothing. I would, try to get something decent out of it price-wise. So we'll see what happens
Trade
there.
it at about $6,000.
Well, it was purchased for $6,000,
No,
but,
eight, I think.
I think that it's worth more than that.
Well, and we, you know, that's quite a building, I mean, for ourselves.
Yeah. And it's possible that we could hold on to it and repurpose it for some other need. These are things that have to be discussed going down the road. Okay, nothing else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So sure.
All right, I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor? Meeting is adjourned at 7:08.
Six.
I'm sorry, 6:08. That's okay, that's not your responsibility.